Hey everyone, we are really excited to be here with Cory from Reach. And Reach is one of our longtime partners here at Dentist Advisors. And we're excited to talk to Reach about their product and a way that we can seriously help every one of our practices with not only efficiency, but staffing and staffing head costs. And overall, as you can see on Cory's deck here, hiring virtual assistants. And Cory, glad that you are here with us. And this is still new-ish, but exciting, and it's still a buzz inside the industry. And really excited to have you on today to talk through this with us.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
So good to have you. Cory is the founder of Reach, knows a lot about this topic, obviously. And Cory, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Spencer. Again, excited to be here. Love doing stuff with fellow Utah companies. And our goal over the next 20 minutes is to share a little bit more about virtual assistants in dentistry. And it's kind of an old, Spencer said it really well, it's kind of an old, new subject. And what I mean by that is people have heard of hiring globally now for, I don't know, 20 plus years. T-Mobile and Apple and other, mega companies had to do it years ago. But over the last few years with, technology like Weave or Mango Voice or, digital access to healthcare systems have allowed practices to have someone who lives in Kansas or anywhere in the globe work for the practice and interact with their patients. Now, in doing so, there are a lot of truths around hiring globally and a lot of myths around hiring globally. And so our goal today is to educate you on the reasons practices are hiring virtual assistants and also to talk a little bit more about the realities of doing so. So number one, as Spencer said, my name's Cory. I've done this for 8 years. Really passionate about dentistry and bettering practices while also creating wins for patients. Before we kind of hop into the meat and potatoes of virtual assistants, I actually think it's really important to take a step back and look at what are some of the biggest issues facing dental practices in 2025. We're, in the middle of February right now, and all of you have, my guess would be, aggressive goals on what you want to do this year, ways that you can better your patients, better your team, and also improve your financial situation. It's the reason that you're partnering with Dentist Advisors. And so when we look at those goals, what are 3 main areas that are holding practices back from achieving that? One of these, and they're all kind of in equal value, and different practices experience different pain points. Number one is you are missing opportunity. When we worked with major phone providers and looked at 2024 data in full year, 32% of all missed phone calls went unanswered. And so much opportunity is just frankly being poured through the drain. 56% of all patients are overdue for their upcoming hygiene cleaning. And then when you look in total, and I was getting eager and ahead of myself on my deck here, on average, a practice has $2.4 million in unscheduled treatment on the books. And why I think this is an important call out is in dentistry, sometimes there has been this song that has been sung of, you've got a problem, well, guess what? New patients is going to fix it. But what's interesting is if you do not have a funnel that is properly equipped to handle the amount of water you're putting through it, you just pour through these gaps in these processes. And when you look at growing your practice, unless the phone is being picked up, unless your recare list is being worked, unless your unscheduled treatment list is also being worked, you're just going to pour water out before it gets to the other end and becomes treated patients, more revenue, and more profit. Second, and I don't know really what it was, but ever since kind of COVID, there has been consistent people problems for businesses within the United States. And really what we all saw was the Great Resignation during 21 and 22. And ever since then, the cost of staffing really has not gone down at all. And the second thing is there was really this Great Resignation, as I just mentioned a second ago. And so when we looked at some data, 29% of front desk roles in 2024 turned over, and only 30 to 32% of team members were engaged in the work that you're doing at your practice. And what's crazy about that is for 8 hours a day, you are the head of clinical affairs and you're the head clinician for your practice. And then after hours, you're expected to be the full-time CEO. So when you do not have engaged staff, it is so stressful for everyone within that group to run a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And then the third kind of major obstacle we're seeing practices run into here is just what I said a second ago. Staffing costs are just going crazy. I'm sure we've all seen the news about eggs going crazy over the last, couple weeks. And when you look at it, when you blend in payroll tax, Social Security, healthcare costs, the average front desk role in dentistry is costing $3,840 a month. And what's interesting is you own your own practice. And so if you make this amount, well, it's just minus all of your expenses is what you take home as take home pay. And insurance is not paying out that much more. Rent costs more, Dentrix is costing more. And so you're kind of caught in this situation where your staff is demanding more. And to be candid, frankly, so we're all facing those rising costs. But at the same time, you have a ceiling that is not increasing at that rate. And the only person who is caught in between in that scenario is you at that practitioner. And a lot of people are feeling that squeeze because you've got families to live, you've got retirement to save for, and so many other things that you want to do. But when you're caught in that in-between scenario, it can add a lot of stress. Spencer, any thoughts so far?
Yeah, just would second everything that you say. We hear that in our firm, that labor costs are increasing, inflation naturally increasing, and real estate is just is crazy. So is money to get financing to grow your practice. I mean, everything that we talk about, in fact, even eggs are increasing. So yeah, we hear it. We hear it every day.
Awesome. And kind of hopping into it, the reason that we wanted to talk about that is we believe a really relevant solution for all three of these 2025 challenges is hiring virtual assistants as team members. And I'll dive a little deeper. And before we do that, I kind of want to hop into the misconceptions and realities of the role. I've run a business for 8 years now, hired thousands of team members. And so there is one thing I want to be adamantly clear on is there's no one solution for all. Everything that you can do causes a reaction. It's what we learned in physics back in the day. And so number one, before we hop into some of the realities, is what are some of the misconceptions around virtual team members? And then we can talk about what are some of the benefits. Number one is that the person that you would hire would have huge communication barriers. I had the opportunity this weekend because I lost a credit card of, calling Wells Fargo or Visa, and you get someone who is overseas and has a very thick accent. And before I got into this, that was my reality of what I thought international labor would be like. But we have found, and you've met, Spencer, some of our team members, you've met Jonathan, can't even, he has a minuscule accent at best.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know. I no idea.
And so I think, there are certain companies who hire around the globe and choose that an accent's not going to be a big factor. In dentistry, I think it is, because you run a family-based practice where people want to trust you. And so we hire the vast majority of our team out of Latin America and a few out of the Philippines. And just to give people some numbers, last month we took 16,183 job applications. And so we can be really damn picky on the people and the level of accents that we're bringing onto the team. And ultimately, you get to hire who you bring onto your team. And so it's not just the, okay, here's, who is Spencer hiring, and good luck to you guys. But someone who really you would be proud to have represent your practice is going to represent your practice. Yep. Number 2, quality. Most people, when they think of outsourcing, think I'm going to save money, but I'm going to get really crappy quality back. And I actually think outsourcing in the general terminology is broken. And how I believe it's broken is most people, let's just take claims as a typical theory of, I'm going to take my claims, I'm going to upload them into my PMS, and then someone's going to come in the middle of the night and work through those. And because there is no communication, quality is never going to be at the level that you would expect it, because you're not interacting like you are day in and day out with your team. And so what we do at Reach is we actually blend these team members into your team. They should be joining your morning huddle. They should be doing a one-on-one with an office manager once a month. They should be part of your Slack or your Weave communications that you have. And that allows you to get the quality while still getting the cost effectiveness. Number 3, I think a lot of people have misconceptions on what truly can be done with a virtual assistant. And most people think of, okay, well, I can send my insurance verifications away and maybe I can get some help on revenue cycle management. And what we have found, and kind of the theory to pose the question on, is anything that can actually take place in a back office of a dental practice are things that can be done by a virtual assistant. New patient phone calls, unscheduled treatment calls, confirmation calls, administrative work, and insurance verification and revenue cycle management can be done virtually and allow the front desk of the practice to do what they are only able to do, which is build relationships with those patients who are checking in and checking out. And so I actually think it's a win for both sides. Yeah. And then the 4th thing is a lot of practices worry, and rightfully so, on, well, okay, if I'm hiring someone internationally, am I going to put my patient data at risk? Number 1, we run background checks on every single person that we hire. And number 2, we also sign a HIPAA compliance, or, a BAA agreement with every practice that we bring on. And then we, as the in-between employer of record, have some pretty robust insurance for those, moments when things do go wrong. Luckily, from 8 years of doing this, we've not had to cross those bridges because we really focus on securing our clients and securing our team members. But we want people to know that because we do this day in and day out, we're adding, 20 to 30 practices a month right now, that we sit in that in between to help you de-risk this situation and also guide you along that journey so that you're not exposing yourself to the World Wide Web. Couple things that I think are just good for practices to know. Okay, those are some misconceptions that we wanted to clear up, but there's also some truths. Number 1 is there is no such thing, especially in the human business, as a plug and play solution. You may be able to find someone with insurance verification experience, but you've still got to show them what insurances are in and out of network. And you've still got to align with where you want your forms uploaded and how you want certain measures handled. Every practice, I've worked, over my 8 years with thousands of practices, and every practice does things slightly different. And so you have to take that time, even if you bring in someone experienced and good, and aligning them with your mission, vision, and your processes. And that takes time. But when you do it, that's where you get that great quality that we talked about a second ago. Mm-hmm. Second thing is it does take building a very simplistic but important technology infrastructure to get these team members a part of your practice. Number 3, with all hires, it takes time to build trust. And one of the things that we have seen that differentiates our practice, who have results that are on the moon with results that are just normal, is they take time to build a real relationship and real trust with the hire that they make. They don't treat it like a vendor. They treat it like a member of their team. And that takes intent, effort, and energy. But when you do it, the results are just significantly amplified. And then 4 is a lot of team members, in-house team members, when you make your first virtual hire, like, oh, is this going to put my job at risk? Or is this the way the world's heading? And what we deeply believe at Reach is Outsourcing or virtual team members can help in certain realities, like we talked about a slide ago, but nothing beats the in-house team members and the relationships that people thrive and want in the practice. And so this is not about an us versus them scenario. And I think we need to set that guard down with practices. And it's important for practitioners to also know that some of the team members may have initial hesitancy on it. But if you explain the intent and the value of the in-office team members, and that this team member is there to support them. They've all had that moment where they have to pick up their phone when, they're on the phone with an insurance and say 1 minute to the patient that just walked in. Well, this allows them to really be fully focused in on those people, as we have said multiple times today, checking in and checking out.
So true.
I know we've just got a few minutes left here, and really what I want to do in closing is talk about those problems that we spoke about today. We've luckily been able to integrate hundreds of virtual team members and take millions of calls over the years that we've done this. And what are the benefits that you and your practice are going to see from implementing and properly implementing a virtual assistant? Number one, we spoke about all of these opportunities that are being left out today. And when a practice properly implements a virtual assistant as an additional hire, not a one-for-one replacement here, but they know that they're leaving meat on the bone, an average practice is seeing $18,720 a month in additional revenue. It's almost $250,000 a year in additional revenue. And it's not because you got more new patients. It's because you did proper follow-up. You had the time to work with these new patients as they called in. You had the time to call your recare list. And it made a significant difference in patient care, patient satisfaction, and revenue and profitability for the practice. Number two, how do virtual assistants do in work? Number one, they're really satisfied with their jobs. And I'll give an example on why. There's actually no crazy secret sauce to what we do here at Reach, though I wish there was. It's we can pay people really well relative to where they live in the world. And because of that, they're really satisfied and they stick around a long time on the job. And so you get that retention. And when you have a front desk and when you have a team that is well-oiled working together and sticks around in the long term, the peace of mind that you can get as a practitioner, I just think is worth $1 million, knowing that you've got a team that's consistently with you. And the data proves that virtual assistants are twice as likely or more to stick around. And then that third component, and I think this third component really wraps up our conversation well for today, which is, well, as you face these rising costs as a practitioner, how is it affecting the bottom line? And the cost differential for between hiring a virtual team member and that $3,840 we spoke about as we got started today is around $2,000 a month. And so in a typical year, you can add $20,000 to $24,000 a year to the bottom line. That can go to staff increases. That can go to paying down your student loans faster. That can be going to your retirement quicker. The second thing is, at some point you probably will sell your practice. And there's a wide ranging amount of EBITDA or take home that practices are sold on, but an average number that we're seeing around right now is around a 7. And so let's just say that you add in one virtual assistant to the mix here with the cost savings of $20,000 to $24,000 a year. Well, you're adding about $150,000 in enterprise value to your practice because of this. So this is not just affecting that take home this year, but affecting and adding on a lot of value to your business when you get ready to make that transition and become financially free. And so in short, why do people choose Reach? There's a lot of virtual assistant companies out there, to be real. We believe we can help you select the right people. We run a process where we help you find the right people for your practice, selecting individually. And then you get a dedicated customer support manager so that it's not just, hey, here's Jonathan Spencer and good luck to you, but actually guiding you along that journey. And the roles we fill, which we've discussed today, are really inbound and outbound phone calls, insurance verifications, revenue cycle management, and also administrative duties. And this is where, as we spoke about, there's a lot of missed opportunity. And then in short, we've got over 250 virtual assistants that do this day in and day out every single day. And we've done over 1.2 million appointments through our years of doing this. And if you're going to spend $1 with us, you're typically going to see about $9.6 of revenue back within your practice from those additional opportunities. So we love working with dentist advisors because our mission of, providing a more calm environment and driving better patient care and also more profit are very aligned. So if you guys want to learn more, you can use the link here, the QR code here, to schedule a consultation with our team where we can walk you through what we do at Reach and see if we are a good fit for you in your practice. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you, Cory. And recommend for everyone to scan here and schedule a consultation with Cory and his team. Also, you can check out more about Reach on dentistadvisors.com, where we will also have this this showing on our website. So Cory, thanks so much. More content to come. Appreciate everybody checking this out, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate y'all.